There we go. That's what I was looking for. I know our last two updates have not, or two attempts to go live have not went through, but it looks like we finally got through that time. So must be some issues with Facebook. But anyway, got some important information, and no, I haven't got everything professionally set up because there is so much information to share that it would take me a long time, honestly, to get it all up. So let's take a look. We'll start out with some information. So let me back up here and get where we need to be. So let's back it up here. Okay, so no, actually, I'm right where we need to be. So looking at the event summary here, a lot of information coming in, and we'll just kind of get on into it. So tonight, 1 a.m. to 6 a.m., the most likely scenario is we'll have a few supercell storms develop across the southeast, capable of producing tornadoes, large hail, and damaging wind gusts. Low threat of flooding. Not really concerned about flooding tonight. Wind gusts starting to pick up, reaching 30 to 35 miles per hour at times. Now, the high end scenario, if that goes, the other way, which there's a possibility of that, numerous supercell storms, significant EF2 plus tornadoes possible. And some of the wording and some of the models, I'm just going to be openly honest with everybody. I've only seen this one other time. And I'll be honest, I think, in my opinion, I think this event here looks worse. That's just my opinion about looking at it. Everything is maxed out. I've never seen everything maxed out on the charts, but everything is maxed out on the charts. Everything has been upgraded, is maxed out. So we'll move on. Saturday afternoon, 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. Most likely scenario. That's our next, event. We could have severe weather, 11 a.m. to 7 o'clock. p.m. Severe additional supercells move through the area, capable of producing tornadoes, some EF2 plus, large hail and damaging winds. Severe storms produce intense rainfall rates, localized areas of 3 to 5 inches of rain accumulation possible. Gusty winds continue reaching 30 to 40 miles per hour at times. So they are thinking this is going to be the higher end scenario here. Pretty much this is for the high end scenario. Some very large tornadoes, very large hail, and damaging wind gusts. And we'll get a little bit further into that. I'm trying to break everything down because there's a lot to go over. Saturday evening event, 7 p.m. to 12 a.m. Most likely scenario. A line of severe storms will cross the area from the west, capable of producing tornadoes and damaging wind gusts. We'll start to feel the impacts of multiple rounds of rain. Northeast Alabama, localized areas with 5 to 7 inches of rain accumulation possible. Gusty winds will continue gusting up to 35 and 40 miles per hour. High-end scenario, overlapping tornadoes and flash flood warnings. And again, this is just some crazy stuff. So let's move on to the next graphic. Let me make sure everything is lining up for everybody so you can all see it. And yes, it does look like you're able to see it just fine. So let me go back. A wind advisory has been issued for all of North Alabama and southern Middle Tennessee from 7 a.m. Saturday through 1 a.m. Sunday. Widespread wind gusts of 30 to 40 miles per hour with higher localized gusts up to 50 miles per hour possible, especially in the higher terrain. So there is a wind advisory in effect from 7 a.m. Saturday through 1 a.m. Sunday. Moving on to that, we'll take a look at the heavy rain and flooding potential. Most likely scenario, we're going to see anywhere between 3 to 5 inches of rain out of these supercells. Then, 48-hour rainfall totals. The high-end scenario, we can see 7+ inches of rain. Lower threat of that. It seems more like we'll see anywhere between maybe 2 to 5, depending on where you're at. But there is always a possibility for the higher-end scenario too. Let's move on from that to a flood watch. I need to make sure everybody's lined up here. Okay, so looking good on the stream end there. A flood watch has been issued for all of North Alabama and southern Middle Tennessee. This goes from 7 a.m. Saturday through 1 a.m. Sunday. Highest flooding threat will be Saturday afternoon and evening, coinciding with our highest severe weather threat. So there is a flood watch issued for all of North Alabama. We'll move on from that, and we'll talk about some pretty much forecast details here. Saturday morning and afternoon, first event. Low end scenario, there's not enough lift or moisture needed to create strong updrafts, and any storms that form remain below severe limits. That's a possibility. High end scenario, which is what we're expecting, the area of better moisture reaches our area Saturday morning, providing the ingredients needed for severe storms, even supercells early Saturday. So they're thinking in the morning hours with the morning round that it could be pretty bad there. Tornadoes, damaging winds, hail. And we're not talking small stuff, and we're talking, tornadoes and hail. We're talking about the threat of some very large stuff. So this is, some crazy stuff. Now, the Saturday evening and night event, what we're watching, low end scenario, rain earlier in the day. That's what we're hoping for. We'll get rain, a lot of it. Rain earlier in the day prevents the better moisture from reaching this far north, which would limit the severe potential, but it would increase the threat of flooding. Who cares at this point? If it gets, lowers the threat of severe weather, I'll take flooding. Which Weather Service not thinking that. They're thinking the high-end scenario, which is most likely. The secondary low will track just to our northwest. It will strengthen the northward surge of moisture, resulting in severe weather along a line of storms, with both embedded and potentially preceding supercells Saturday evening into Saturday night. That would be very bad if those supercells did that. So we'll move on and look at some of the timing here. So Saturday severe weather timing. Hopefully everybody can see that, and we'll try to adjust it a little bit better. If not, let me check it on your end, see how it looks. Okay, so we're looking good, and I will get to questions with everybody too, so don't think I'm just going to leave you on the hook here. I'll get with questions here momentarily. Let me go back to this. Okay, so most likely timing for Northwest Alabama, that will be Saturday severe weather timing. Looks like 11 a.m. to 8 p.m. That will be Florence, Russellville areas. Huntsville and Coleman, 12 p.m. to 10 p.m. And that's a big timeline. And Northeast Alabama will be around 1 p.m. to 12 a.m. Timeline there. I'll get that posted up, or try to get it posted up shortly. Now, let's take a look at the severe weather potential on Saturday. So that's what we're looking at here with this big chart here. And the Storm Prediction Center has put a high risk in place, which it extends from down around Anniston, Birmingham to the southwest. But don't let these colors confuse you, okay? The charts are maxed out. This is what I'm talking about by how I've never seen these charts maxed out. How many times have I went live and you've seen a hatched risk that included all of North Alabama? I mean, look at this. There's a hatched risk, and we're talking a high risk of tornadoes all of North Alabama. Florence area, we won't get confused about that because they've still got a threat there too. So tornadoes, pretty much maxed out. Don't get much worse than that. It could go up just a little bit more, but not much. There's not much room for it to go up, much more. We're almost completely at the top of the list there. Severe winds, also very high risk of that in the red, all of North Alabama. Hail threat, could be some larger hail, though, along I-65 and to the west around Athens, Decatur, Hartselle, Coleman, Birmingham, Hamilton, Russellville, and Florence. But either way, hatched risk extends all the way out to Huntsville, Scottsboro, Rainsville, Guntersville, Gadsden, Anniston areas. That includes all of North Alabama, basically. This is not looking good at all. So pretty much the images represent the threats throughout the day Saturday with high confidence in severe weather. The most intense severe weather window looks to be from 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. The hatching marks represent significant tornado, EF2 plus, damaging winds 75 miles per hour plus, and large hail 2-inch in diameter plus. We're talking some big hail, some destructive winds, and even destructive tornadoes with this stuff. So have multiple ways to receive warnings with this. My recommendation, if you're in a mobile home and you are far away from a storm shelter, hopefully you would have a friend or something that lives in a house that way, or a better structure than the mobile home you're in. That, you can get out of that and be able to maybe stay the night with them, and stay tomorrow too. Until this, gets on out of here, because you need to be close to a shelter. These storms are going to be moving fast when they do move in. So let's look at the severe weather details. And like I said, I wasn't kidding when I said there was a lot to put up. I'd have been putting these up for a while, trying to get all of it lined up. Watt could have some 70-mile-per-hour wind gusts or greater. That's very close to high risk there, but it's not quite. Hail 1 inch of diameter or greater. It is, kind of, I'll say medium confidence there, middle ways. Severe tornadoes, some of which could be significant. EF2 plus, that's on up there closer to the high. Let's say round 2 will be 10 a.m. Saturday to 1 a.m. Sunday. That will be looks like the overnight threat. I know there's quite a few rounds here, and it does get confusing. Medium to high confidence and supercells in the morning, forming into a line for storms through the afternoon. Strong tornadoes, EF2 plus, large hail, 1 inch in diameter, and wind gusts of 70 plus miles per hour. So I know some of this gets confusing even to me. I have to sit here and look at it for just a minute. Think, oh, what? Did I read that right? Okay, so yeah, kind of confusing there. All right, so let's back it up here, and we're going to talk about tonight and early Saturday morning. Okay, so tonight, early Saturday morning threat. This is going to be between 1 a.m. to 4 a.m. That'll be Florence, Russellville, Huntsville, and Coleman, 2 a.m. to 5 a.m., and Fort Payne areas, DeKalb County, 3 a.m. to 6. And that is the round coming in tonight into early Saturday morning. I will, get on there and clarify all this. So the severe weather potential for tonight, we're going to break that down a little bit too. So we're focusing on tonight into the morning hours now. The breakdown of the tornadoes, wind, and hail threat, areas for the high-end scenario, which is what Storm Prediction Center forecast represents. So this is what we're looking at for, again, tonight into tomorrow. The best threat of any tornadoes with that would be along and west of I-65. That's for overnight into the morning hours. Should have a few tornadoes along I-65 west. Best threat area, but east of I-65, there is still a threat of some tornadoes here. Severe weather outlook, of course, looking for the damaging wind threat overnight into the morning hours. There is a threat, pretty much for all of North Alabama. Could see some damaging winds with it. Hail outlook, pretty much the same. There's a threat for all of North Alabama. Best threats west of I-65 for tonight. Basically, make sure you got multiple ways to receive warnings. So let's move on up. We'll look at tonight's severe weather potential, and I'm just paying attention to this. It looks like it's backwards, so I'll have to fix all that out here shortly. Tonight's severe weather outlook looks like there is a enhanced risk of severe storms along I-65 west, with a slight risk extending pretty much into northeast Alabama. So not as much confidence tonight, unless you were along and west of I-65, as there's going to be on Saturday. We still need to be weather aware. That's why I said if you live in a mobile home and you got a friend you can stay overnight with, maybe the day tomorrow, into the overnight, that would be great, because there's going to be several rounds coming through. So I think we're pretty much caught up with all that. And that is a lot of information to put up. I know it's confusing to everybody. Very, very confusing. I'm not going to lie. I've never seen that much. It's a little bit confusing even to me. So we'll look at the computer models here. We'll get a better idea of some of this. Let me switch over to the computer models here, and we'll look at those. And they'll give us a lot better idea here. So switching over to those. But yeah, I went ahead and, told my family, I said, hey, let's get everything in a backpack, get it down to the storm shelter, all that good stuff. That way it's there. We don't have to prepare for nothing. It's there. If we need to go in there, we're good. We can go. So let's have a look at here. All right, so let's look at this significant tornado perimeter. It's going to give us an idea of where the best threat, pretty much, of tornadoes will be. And again, I am seeing the best threat along and west of I-65. That is between the Looks like that is 8 p.m. on, let's see, let me look at that one more time here. Okay, that's 6 o'clock, I believe this evening, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, I believe that's 6 o'clock this evening, so let's move it forward a little bit. So seeing a little bit of energy to the west, let's move all this forward a little bit. So we start to get a lot of energy, a lot of pink showing up on this graph as this cold front moves on through. Still a threat no matter where you're at in North Alabama. I do see some decent numbers there showing up in the southern portions of Marshall County there and going into DeKalb and even Jackson counties. This right here is at 10 p.m. Saturday night as this moves on through. So there is a lot of energy in place for these. Let's look at the supercell composite. I know these can get confusing too. Don't let the colors confuse you, though. All of North Alabama has a threat. It's going to be a pretty interesting event. Let's back it on up, though, to some simpler stuff, because I know all this is a bit overwhelming. I mean, believe me, I get it. We'll back it up a little bit. Now, this is a lot of stuff. Like, I've never covered such information. It's just so much to go over. Okay, so looks like we started to get some activity along and west of I-65. Looks like around 5 a.m. Saturday morning. It continues to move off to the east. Looks like it makes it into our area approximately 8 a.m. So 8 a.m. in the morning is what the NAM models are showing. So around 8 a.m. in the morning, then that lifts north. And it clears off a bit. That's what my concern is at a good bit. Is it clears off. You don't see a lot of rain or anything unless you're to the west of us. Then we start getting that other stuff in here around, it's like 2 p.m. Northwest Alabama continues to progress to the east. And let's say that right there is approximately 6 o'clock on Saturday. We start getting that main line in Northwest Alabama around that time frame, 6 o'clock. We'll move that main line forward. Looks like it gets along I-65. Let me back it up. Went a little bit far ahead. Looks like it gets along I-65 anywhere between 9 o'clock and 10 o'clock. Then it starts moving into Jackson County, DeKalb, Marshall counties, anywhere between, I'm going to say 11 o'clock, maybe midnight hours. Then all that finally moves on out of here, and we're severe weather. There looks like a few pop-ups behind the line, but other than that, some showers behind it, and it moves on out. So just some crazy stuff ahead. I got to admit, it's some absolute crazy stuff that, a lot of information, to give out. So let's take a moment and answer questions, and I've still got to get my brain wrapped around all this because it's hard for me to wrap my mind around all of it, I admit. Okay. Let's look at comments here. I hope you found my post and my stream useful. I will clarify all this on my page. That way it's a little less confusing. I'll try my best. It'll probably take me 30 minutes to an hour to clarify all that up. But I'll try my best to get that up so it's a little bit better understanding. We're going to run over this one more time, okay? Reading over the comments here. Yeah, Janice, I would have to find somewhere I wouldn't stay in no mobile home. I'm just telling you, I would not do that. This is not the system to be doing that. Like these other systems we've had, we've been really lucky with them, or rather blessed with them. I'll say not lucky, but blessed. And this system is not the system you want to stay in a mobile home with. I'll just be honest. Yes, we will get warnings with these systems. We will. We'll definitely be getting warnings with them. So I want to go over this one more time with everybody, okay? If you got some time, bear with me. I think I realized where some of my confusion came in at was my scroller. Looks like it's going backwards. Like I had these models, going backwards. Instead of it going from the morning hours on Friday till late Saturday, the scroll was going the wrong way. In other words, it was going from Saturday evening all the way up till Friday, which was backwards. So let me see if I can fix this in the background real quick. I do apologize for that. That's where the confusion's at, and I don't want people confused. So if I have to go over all this again, I will. That was probably an error on my part. But let me set this up again and see if we can't get it to go the right direction this time. Okay. So bear with me. This is a lot of information. We're going to try to get it hopefully fixed right this time. So, okay. I do sincerely apologize for that. All right, so let's see if we can't get this thing to do the right thing this time. Okay. And we're going to stop. Okay. So let's try to go over this again. All right, so we're going to break it down a little bit better at this point, now that I've got everything going the way I want it to go. Okay. So this was how it was supposed to be done in the beginning. Tonight's severe weather threat. There's a moderate risk further to the northwest, enhanced risk pretty much along and west of I-65, with a slight risk pretty much covering northeast Alabama. Yeah, I admit these models can confuse you. I was a little bit confused by them myself when I looked at them, and that's why I was like, something's just not right about this. So I was actually going backwards. So let's just straighten that up. Hopefully I don't take no heat from that, but sometimes it happens with this stuff. Accidents do happen. Tonight's severe weather threat, though, of course, 60-mile-per-hour winds possible, hail up to 1 inch in diameter, could be some tornadoes, EF2. The best threat of that will be along and west of I-65. That is tonight. Just keep that in mind. 1 a.m. to 6 p.m. Saturday morning. That's what this is valid for. It's 1 a.m. to 6 a.m. Saturday morning. This outlook here. So we're going to move it a little bit further down now. All right, so we're going to try to skip some of that so it's less confusing. All right, this right here is pretty much the individual hazards outlook. This looks like it is valid for tonight. Individual hazards, of course, we could see some tornadoes, damaging winds, hail, all that good stuff. We'll break it down a little bit simpler here. There is a tornado threat along I-65 west, a bit worse threat tonight. Okay, so we'll move on to the damaging wind threat, but keep in mind, no matter where you're at in North Alabama, there's a threat of tornadoes tonight, okay? Again, best threat along I-65 and to the west. Moving forward, damaging wind threat. There is a damaging wind threat for all of North Alabama. The worst would be further northwest up into Tennessee, around Waynesboro, northwest of that. We'll move on to the hail threat. Pretty much no matter where you're at in North Alabama, you've got a threat for large hail. Best threat would be far west Alabama, around, just to the west of Florence, just to the west of Russellville, and very close to Hamilton. But there is a threat of hail, large hail elsewhere. So let's move on to the timing. Tonight and early Saturday morning. That's what this timing's valid for. 1 a.m. to 4 a.m. Florence and Russellville, again, that's for tonight into early Saturday morning. 1 a.m. to 4 a.m. Florence and Russellville. Huntsville and Coleman, 2 a.m. to 5 a.m. And for Northeast Alabama, 3 a.m. to 6 a.m. Again, that is for tonight into early Saturday morning. Looks more than likely it moves in after midnight tonight. We'll move on down. Saturday severe weather threat. Now we're talking Saturday. We're looking at the Storm Prediction Center outlook for Saturday. Excuse me, I've got terrible allergies from all these trees out here. Okay, so we could be seeing wind gusts anywhere around 70 miles per hour or greater. That is on up there, in the higher category. Hail of 1 inch in diameter. That's about medium category there. Several tornadoes, some of which could be significant. EF2 plus, that's on up there in the higher category too. This is going to be round 2, 10 a.m. Saturday to 1 a.m. Sunday. Storm Prediction Center has put out a high risk, rare high risk. It's not something you see very often. In fact, haven't seen it too many times in Alabama since I've been doing weather. Very serious system to be worried about. If you are worried about it, understandable. This one is the one that you need to be worried about. Seriously. Medium to high confidence in supercells in the morning, forming into a line for storms throughout the afternoon. Strong tornadoes, EF2 plus, large hail 1 inch in diameter, maybe larger, and wind gusts of 70 plus miles per hour possible. Doesn't matter where you're at in North Alabama. Doesn't matter pretty much where you're at in Alabama. You need to be preparing for this event. So this is Saturday's severe weather potential. Not to confuse everybody, because I know the other one looks similar to this one, but different colors. This is for Saturday, the day of Saturday. We'll look at it again, where everybody can see severe weather potential Saturday. Pretty much no matter where you're at in North Alabama, you're in a hatched risk for tornadoes. Some of those could be large, EF2 plus. Don't get confused by the colors. So we're just going to break it down simple as that. No matter where you're at in Alabama, threat of tornadoes, some of them could be large. Moving to the wind threat, no matter where you're at in Alabama, hatched risk. Damaging winds could be anywhere from 60 to 75 plus miles per hour. Same with the hail. We'll say, this one's just a little bit different. The best threat of hail with this one, which we're all in a hatched risk. All of North Alabama is in a hatched risk, meaning really don't matter where you're at. You've got a very good threat of large hail. But the best area that could see, we're talking baseball size, maybe plus, and that's still not ruling us out of baseball size hail, okay? This is just giving a little bit higher confidence along I-65 and west. So they're thinking that more confidence there of seeing that hail being that large anywhere along I-65 and west. East of I-65 still has that potential, but they're thinking, there may be a little bit better threat along and west of I-65. Hope that makes sense to everybody. So we'll take a look. This is going to be valid for the Saturday threat, which is pretty much, we'll say, 11 a.m. all the way into the evening and overnight hours. So most likely scenario for these storms will be 11 a.m. to 8 p.m. along Florence and Russellville. And I know that is a gigantic timeline. That gives you an idea just how many rounds is going to be out there. Second area, Huntsville, Coleman area is around 12 p.m. to 10. And Northeast Alabama, 1 p.m. to 12 a.m. So this is just a huge timeline. That's what I'm saying. If you got a friend you could stay a day or two with, I would, after tonight, going after midnight, I would hope you've already got all that planned. So we'll move on down. We'll skip some of that. Don't want to be confusing about this. I know it's already confusing. Bottom line up front, flood watch is in effect. Has, all of North Alabama, southern middle Tennessee, goes from 7 a.m. Saturday through 1 a.m. Sunday. Could have some flash flooding. Heavy rain and flooding, of course. Basically, the flood watch tells it all. Don't really need to go much into that. Wind details, wind advisory been issued for all of North Alabama, southern middle Tennessee from 7 a.m. Saturday through 1 a.m. Sunday. Widespread wind gusts 30 to 40 miles per hour. That's typically what everybody's going to see, between 30 and 40 mile per hour gusts. But there is some higher local gusts up to 50 miles per hour, especially higher elevations, like let's say you're on Lookout Mountain in DeKalb County. Let's say you're up around Stevenson, you're up around Ider, maybe Rainsville. The higher elevations, in Northeast Alabama could be seeing some of those higher wind gusts up to 50 miles per hour. So again, don't want to go too much into this to confuse anybody, but we'll go over it once more because this breaks it down just a little bit more. So tonight's scenario, again, timing 1 a.m., 6 a.m. Saturday afternoon timeline, morning hours afternoon, 11 a.m. to 7 p.m., and Saturday evening, 7 p.m. to 12 a.m., and I admit this is confusing. So hopefully everybody's got something out of that. I do apologize for it taking that long to go over this. And honestly, Leah, what you're looking at here, this could be a super outbreak. Yes, I'm not a bit afraid to say that. Yes, this could be a super outbreak. I know I was looking at one of the meteorologists was talking about this morning, and he was saying that there could be 100 tornadoes or more out of this. Now we're talking different states, of course. All together, once this is done, he would not be surprised if we don't see it, at least 100 tornado touchdown reports. That was what he said. That's not my wording. That's what he said. So And yes, the last time that I saw a high risk like this, yes, was in April 27th, 2011. And to be, just truthful with everybody, that's the last time I've seen anything like, even come close to this was then. So, and I hate to say that. And actually, storm shelters that I've seen, if you have a service dog and you've got proof that that is a service dog, they actually will allow it. I don't know which ones will, but I know I've read up on a bunch of the public shelters, and they said if you have a service animal, that's a little bit different, but they don't allow you to just bring, any animal in there. Unfortunately, like you have to have a good reason for it to be there. Unfortunately, so let's take a look at this. And Tuesday, I haven't seen nothing for Tuesday just yet. What color? Fort Payne area, don't get all confused with the colors, okay? First of all, there's way too many color graphics out there that's going to have everybody confused to death. So, I know even as long as I've been doing weather, it has me confused, okay? So I've been doing weather many years, and it confuses me looking at all that. Just know the facts. The facts are, doesn't matter what color you're in, all of North Alabama, all of Alabama has the threat of damaging winds, large tornadoes, and hail. Okay, so just don't get all confused with the colors. Again, there's a lot of colors there, and I hate it that during the stream earlier, I was reading that off backwards, and everything was going backwards. I do apologize for that. It's just so much information, so I apologize. And yes, there is a huge list if anyone's missed it. Tons of shelters, churches, even the college is open for anyone needing shelter. Yeah, Cheyenne, you're absolutely correct. I'm glad you're not confused because I was. I admit. And yes, we will have a good bit of warning with these. You see, that's why we're working so hard to get this information out right now before it gets here. So plan today. Don't be scared to death, running around, scared half to death. Just do what you need to do to make sure your family's safe. Prepare for that. If you're in a mobile home, don't be in one. Even if you stayed in them in the past, this event here, just take my words, and if I'm wrong, hey, I'll eat it from everybody later on. But, what we're looking at here, this is by the models. This is not a system you want to stay in a mobile home with, okay? Now, I'm not saying that it's going to wipe the entire Alabama out, okay? Because these will be supercells, they'll be long track. Some people will get, more damage than others, but there's some very high winds, destructive winds. So you need to prepare for this. It's something you really need to do. If you have never thought about leaving your mobile home before, if you've been stubborn, like, it's not going to do nothing, I'm not leaving my home, just mark my words this one time, set your pride aside, leave your mobile home, just this once. And I usually don't say that, just, leave your mobile home. Janice, if you've got family, and I hope you do, call them. Don't stay in the mobile home. I don't want you to stay in the mobile home if you can do anything about it. So let's look through the comments. Let's see. What will really determine the strength of the storms is, you see what it's doing outside right now. It's sunny, it's breezy, it's hot. If we have that kind of stuff on Saturday, that's going to determine a lot. If we wake up on Saturday and it's just an absolute downpour, we have rain all morning, all day long, and we don't get much sunshine, it turns into more of a flooding threat. Yeah, this scenario will go down a bunch. We might just get by with just some flooding, some damaging winds, maybe a tornado or two if that scenario happens. But they're thinking it's going to do pretty much like what it's doing today. Sunny skies, we'll have some showers, some severe thunderstorms in the morning. Then we'll get, not a lot of rain to really stabilize the atmosphere out a lot. So, but there is a possibility that it could go the other way. So keep that in mind, in the back of your mind too. There's a possibility it could go the other way. And that's what we're hoping. We don't want to see stuff like this. We hope that it does turn out to be heavy rain, type event. That's what we're hoping for. But it's not Just they don't put outlooks in place like this for nothing. I'm just saying they don't. It's rare for them to put out a high risk, just for no reason. So it would be, I will say, an act of the Lord Himself, pretty much to bring all this out. And yeah, absolutely can do that. Most definitely. All right, we're at our last comment. So thanks everybody so much for watching, and I do thank you for your time. Thanks for your patience, for working with me. I haven't ate a thing today, so I'm surprised I've done as good as I did with it. So hopefully I did good and explained it. Reach out to your family, call them, be like, hey, if you've never thought about taking shelter, kind of encourage them. Maybe this is the event. This is definitely the event you need to try to do that. Take shelter if you live in a mobile home. Just reach out to your family, prepare your family, and don't wait until they're moving through to prepare, because they're going to be fast moving storms. So Thomas, what type of structure are you living in? Is it a brick home? Is it a kind of, what are you living in there? If it's a brick home, that will be better. If you're living in an apartment and it is a let's say 2-story, you definitely don't want to be on that second story. You want to be on the bottom. So keep that in mind. You're going to want to stay on the bottom. You're going to want to put, when they say put as many walls between you and the outside as possible, pretty much they're saying the middle of the structure. Like, you don't want to be exposed. You don't want to be exposed. You don't want to put yourself close to the outside of the house. You want to be kind of in the middle. In the middle or in a basement or something. So that's what you're going to want. So, all right, everybody, thanks so much. We'll wrap this long stream up. I think it's took me 37 minutes to explain all this, so it took a while. Even doing it this way, it took a while to do it. So let's shout out to our sponsor there, Mr. Dylan Snyder at Alabama Living Real Estate. For all your real estate needs, you can give him a call at 256-979-4330. And also, our second sponsor there would be RKG Automotive. If you're looking to buy a vehicle, you can check them out on Facebook. Same with Mr. Dylan Snyder there. You can check them out on Facebook too. And RKG Automotive, you can give them a call at 256-572-6586 for more information. So we'll get ready to wrap this up. And I know a lot of people have wrote me, and they're like, during your last, live stream, and when you had to take shelter, everybody was wondering what's going on, where did he go? There's not going to be any confusion this time. When we're tracking storms, when I take shelter, this is what you're going to see come up. It'll say the Cap County Severe Weather Team's taking shelter. The page will continue to auto-update in case of power outages. So keep in mind, if we do go down, if you have any internet access whatsoever, our page will continue to post warnings up through our automated system. So I just want to bring that up, and we'll leave the live stream up. We'll leave the radar up. We'll leave all that up so you can see what's going on. And if we lose power again, we're not streaming anymore, then be looking for those automated alerts, because you will see them on the page. You'll get notified of them. More than likely, you'll be notified of them. So thanks so much. God bless. Have a good day, everybody. Use this day to prepare for what is coming. So thanks again, everybody. God bless. Have a great rest of your day, and we'll see you on the next updates.